Good morning, everyone. Hopefully you're enjoying this beautiful sun in Michigan in November. Usually right around now is when those gray days start sneaking in on us, but I'm happy to say we've seen just so many sunny days. It's so nice. I am absolutely loving it. So we've got a really big class, and I'm excited because I am literally going to show you brand new stuff, some that was actually just released last night. So it doesn't get much more new than that. So I'm going to take you through Paragon, some MLS tips and tricks. Some you may already know, but as I mentioned, I think we're going to start off with some of the brand new things. We're going to show you some enhancements that have been made. We're going to kind of give you a little preview of what's coming down the road. And so I always like to show classes on the day where we roll stuff out, right? That's always a little nerve-wracking, but I'm actually excited to take you through it. So we've got quite a few that are still popping on right now, but if I haven't got to meet you in person, my name is Colleen DeLang. I am the Director of Education here at My Real Source. The reason I like showing the features in this class is really because I also practice real estate for over 25 years. So I really use this. And I think the nice thing about some of the My Real Source training is that we use real life realtors like the person I'm about to introduce, who's probably showed me half of what I know in the system. Not only is she my very best friend, but she is helping out today behind the scenes, and she's going to be answering questions. Lisa Harris, you want to say hi to everybody?
Good morning, everyone.
So unfortunately, Lisa had a little bit of a nasty fall, so she's recovering with her ankle. Otherwise, you'd probably be seeing her here too. But Lisa's been kind enough to help out behind the scenes and answer any questions. We want to keep this as interactive as possible. So feel free, especially with all of this new stuff that we're going to take a look at today, feel free to fire away with any questions. And how you do that is in your GoToWebinar panel, which is probably minimized either with a blue flower at the bottom of your screen or possibly a red, orange-red arrow, if you will. If you click that open, there will be a section in there that says questions. This is, of course, where you can fire off any questions, and Lisa will answer those. And if they're a question that we're getting, maybe more than once, Lisa will just jump in and unmute herself, and she'll be able to ask the question to the group. So it looks like we've got almost 40 on, got a few more that are still logging in, so give them one more minute. I'm going to go ahead and just move my screen over, and I'm actually going to, I think, start off with the new stuff. I know normally we end with the new stuff, but I'm just so excited about it, and I think some of this has been things we've been asking for a long time. So we got most everybody connected. All right, so I'm going to jump over and start showing my screen here. All right, and I had to borrow, my listing is now pending, so I'm not going to be able to use my own, so I had to borrow somebody else's fancy listing today. Thankfully, I have a lot of friends. Lisa's got some listings I might show here, and thankfully I have a lot of great friends who have the really fancy listings. I don't ever seem to get those. I get more the fixer-uppers, but hey, so it's good to have friends with the, $500,000 listings. They're way more fun to showcase on, right? All right, so I think we've got everybody. Lisa, are you able to see my screen okay at this point?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. There's nothing worse than when you go to upload this to our video channel and you realize nobody was seeing or hearing anything you were talking about. So it's happened several times, as Lisa can attest. And so I always like to sort of test and make sure everybody can see this. So I'm going to cover a lot of stuff today. And I'm also going to cover, like I said, brand new stuff. You of course aren't going to be able to remember every single thing, so we're recording this exact class. So if you have to step away, hopefully to bottom line an offer or accept an offer over the phone, don't worry, we got you covered. We're actually recording this class, so you'll be able to see it starting tomorrow. I'll show you exactly where to go. In order to see this class, you're simply going to go under the resources section right here. And what we've done is we've created a whole education basically a little model right here. And this is where you can go. You can check how many Con Ed credits you got for the year. You can sign up for additional classes. But if you click on this recorded webinars button, this is going to show you where you can find all of our online classes. So not only is Lisa, as I mentioned, my best friend, but she teaches an amazing public records class, how to use BS&A to find everything from utilities on a property to all the detail on the property to the tax information to who actually owns it. A lot going on with that right now. We're seeing a lot of lawsuits come in with this wholesaling model. These are really times we want to make sure we're checking that public records information. So if you haven't taken Lisa's public records class, I strongly suggest you do it. And where you can find those recorded classes, so if you don't have time to take her next one, which is coming up, maybe you need it tonight, you can always go right to recorded webinars, click on this video section, and you'll see my good friend Lisa right here. And you can find her public records class in here, but you'll find today's class. I'll have it uploaded by tomorrow. And then what I do is I usually put the date right after it. So if you do miss anything today, you can always go back and see it. In addition to that, I just want to point out that we are opening up our hybrid classroom. That means if you prefer the in-person classes, you can still see those in our interactive classroom, but you can also attend just like you're doing now via webinar. That we're going to start hosting classes January 2nd. So we'll be in the office and doing this hybrid classroom. So if you want to find out more about the upcoming classes, let me show you where to go for that. Under the resources section, you'll find what we call the education corner. This is something that we built so that we could focus on what upcoming classes we have. As I mentioned, I'm just getting ready to update this for the hybrid classroom too. But if you're interested in any of our other classes like Cloud CMA or the brand new Collaboration Center that just came out, maybe you want to sign up for Lisa's next public records class, you can find all of those right in our education corner. So you just find the class that you're interested in, click on register here, and we'll send you a webinar invitation just like today. All right, so let's get into the new stuff. I want to kind of explain where we're going to start because this is not the traditional MLS class that you may have taken previously. What we're going to do is we're actually going to focus on a little bit of the future and what's coming. And I kind of want to give you the background so it makes a little bit more sense because I did not know this for a long time. But basically, until about a year and a half ago, almost 2 years now, most of Paragon users were using an incredible app called HomeSnap. I don't know if you ever used HomeSnap. It was one of my favorite programs. Lisa, would you say it's like one of your favorite programs of all time?
Absolutely, I miss it.
I miss it every day. And so it was a great program. And basically, most Paragon users across the country, 90% of them to be exact, were using HomeSnap. It allowed you to do things that no other app did, like walk property lines in real time. It would literally take your camera on your phone and create arrows to show you where the property line started and stopped. It would do things like allow you to change things on your listings on the fly, see how much an agent has sold. So if you get an offer and maybe there's some pieces missing, you could see if they were just brand new or if it was a lazy agent. I loved tools like that, but it was very, very user-friendly. So most people that were using Paragon were actually using HomeSnap. And so we decided instead of coming up with an entirely another app, which is what we need, right? We have 18 million apps. We were going to build all of our technology that integrated with Paragon into HomeSnap, which was a great plan. Except a competitor came along by the name of Homes.com and decided that their business model, according to their business model, which is in writing, was to give Zillow a run for their money. So they decided that they were going to purchase HomeSnap. And because they didn't want people to use that app anymore, they wanted them to use the Homes.com app. The idea behind that was they were going to completely kill HomeSnap and they were going to now take the functionality that existed in this great product everyone loved and they were going to build it into Homestuck. So they did. They gave us 2 months notice that they were going to kill the HomeSnap app. They did this, and it sort of left everyone scrambling for a Paragon app. And so what had happened was at that point, Paragon had an app, but it was really more for communicating with sellers because we were building in all the great technology into Paragon Connect. I promise I'm going somewhere with this story. I know it seems long-winded. So when they built Paragon Connect, after all of this happened, it was like starting from the ground up. And I'm going to be honest, both Lisa and I tried it when it was released, and we both hated it. We were like, this is not what we're used to. We had this really great HomeSnap app. Is it going to be in homes.com? And really, a lot of that functionality, unfortunately, never was rebuilt in homes.com. So then we decided, hey, we got to have a full-fledged Paragon app. But as I mentioned, it was really starting from the ground up with very no notice. So when we first started using it, it lacked a lot. One of the things that for me that I absolutely hated was when I open a mobile app, I wanted to open to a map on my phone. That's the whole deal of a mobile app. And it was opening to the contact section, which was kind of a leftover of the app they had. The reason I'm telling you this is if you tried Paragon Connect previously, I'm going to ask you to try it again, because I know a lot of people said, Colleen, I tried it, it was terrible. And you're absolutely right. It was starting from the ground up with basically no notice. There was a lot of things that it needed to get right, and it didn't quite have it. The other thing you're going to notice is over the course, and it's not going to be immediate, but over the course of the next couple of years, Paragon Connect and Paragon that you know on your desktop are going to become one. Now, it's not going to be immediate, so don't panic. I know if you're just getting started with the app, don't feel like, oh my God, but I need to know where everything is, because I hate when people move stuff as an agent. Don't move my cheese. Let me just find it where I always find it, right? But here's what you need to know. A lot of the new functionality that is coming out, that stuff I'm going to show you right now, is going to be placed in Paragon Connect. But we don't expect you to learn it all on your phone. So your first time-saving tip today is we have placed Paragon Connect, the icon that you see right where my mouse is, we've placed it on your desktop because we do want you to start getting familiar. And by the way, again, these new functions that I have to tell you I've been using for a while now, and I really, really like, they've been released to all of you just as recently as some of it last night. They're going to be in Paragon Connect, because the goal is they want you to start checking it out. So they know if they start building some of the new really cool pieces, you'll at least go take a look. So I apologize long-term that it's taken this long for me to tell this story and for me to get you to this point. But I want you to understand that Paragon Connect and Paragon proper, or Paragon on your desktop like you're using it right now, they are going to become one over the next couple of years. So you got time, but that's actually where we're going to start today, because that is where the new functions that I'm going to show you are. The one thing you need to know about Paragon Connect is you can now go in and make your map your default. You do want to download the app, and you can download it, by the way, from the Google Play Store or the App Store. You can do it right now if you haven't. Make sure that's on your phone. You now can edit every single field of your listing right from the palm of your hand. So if you're sitting here and you want to mark one of your listings pending right now, you literally can go in the app and change anything on your listing. You now can do things with your listings that you can't do in Paragon proper, or Paragon on your desktop. That's kind of what we call it, proper, meaning the beginning. But so let's take a look at some of the new functionality. A couple of things I want to show you right off the bat are reverse prospecting. I know for me this summer, I was having a great summer. Listed a $520,000 house, had 19 showings in 2 days, had 7 over asking offers, right? 5 of them were cash. It was a beautiful thing. But I also know I listed a house not far from there, still a great home, and listed it a month ago. And I will tell you, it's a different market. We're starting to see some changes. I'm not saying it's everywhere, but we are starting to see more price improvements. We used to call them price reductions in the old days, but now, of course, we're calling them price improvements. We're seeing a lot more agents holding open houses, and we're seeing things not get the mass amount of showings that we were. Not in every area, and I'm aware of that, but we are seeing a time where we're going to need to do a little bit more in the way of advertising our homes. So let's take a look at some of your first time-saving tips. Again, these are brand new, but where we're going to start to look at those is in Paragon Connect. So again, you're going to see that icon right on your desktop. Start getting familiar with it right from your desktop. You can see everything, it's nice and big, and it's going to totally make sense. One of the first things you're going to notice is you now can click the Near Me button, which will take you, and by the way, if you have given your customer the app, which is called the Collaboration Center, you're going to see everything that they do in their Collaboration Center, everything they favorite, everything they like. You can see this all in your app in Paragon Connect. So one of the big questions I'm getting right now is, well, why is it called Paragon Connect for me, the agent, but is it called Collaboration Center for my clients? The Collaboration Center is really set up so that any person that you put into the system with a saved search, they immediately get any new listing that comes onto the market, but you get to see that in your app. So yes, there are two different apps, but there's a reason for that. The Collab Center is where your clients are communicating with you. Paragon Connect is where you, the agent, are seeing everything from editing your listings to what's happening in their Collab Center. So the app that you need as the agent, just to clarify, is Paragon Connect. And that's what we're looking at right now. So Paragon Connect, very simply, if you use the hamburger stack over here to the left, this is going to allow you to see how to navigate through the whole itself. Where we're going to start today is in listings. So with us having these listings that might need a little bit more exposure than they've previously had, how can you see the matches that are actually set up for agents' clients? And when I say matches, I mean these are actual saved searches that are going to meet your property criteria. And they're in the system right now. And that means right now, when I say that, you're not looking at someone's prospect from 5 years ago, you're looking at the last 6 months. Because if you remember, if you've ever used Collaboration Center, it actually saves that contact information for 6 months unless you physically go in and renew it. So that means somebody has touched it in the last 6 months. What I want to show you here is a way that you can find out what agents have clients that are set up right now in the system that are getting your home in their Collab Center. And that's what we call reverse prospecting. So where I've gone is I've gone to Paragon Connect, I've gone to this little hamburger stack to the left, and I've clicked on listings. So this agent, like I said, my friend Hank always has really fancy listings. I never really get them quite in this price range, so it's kind of nice when I get to use somebody who does. But what I can see right here is in Hank's listings, if he wants to promote this beautiful $1.2 million home, and he wants to see how many eyes is he getting, how many people actually have prospects that are set up for his listing in the system right now, he can go to these little menu dots right here to the right, and it's going to open up an entire new flyout window. But one of those things is going to be reverse prospecting. When I did this on my listing, I think what astounded me the most was there were 14 people out of this, I think it was 62 or 63 reverse prospects that came up that were in my own company, in my own office. So not only can I go ahead and tell these other agents a little bit more about my listing than they can see in the MLS, but I can notify or remind those agents that they have a prospect that's already set up that's matching my listing. The nice thing is you can also do a lot more than you can in most reverse prospecting systems. So let me show you. So I can see in Hank's match here, I can see how many, Christy Donaldson, she happens to be at Lisa's company, but he can see how many agents he knows right now. This happens to be Tom Zokowski, and Jody's on his team from his own company. So what he explained to me too was I was amazed how many, he works for Real Estate One, obviously, since I'm using his account. He could see how many agents in Real Estate One had a prospect that matched what he had in this listing. Now, the nice thing is, you can see Lisa had a prospect that actually matched mine, which was really hilarious. Not only is she my best friend and we teach together, we've both been selling real estate for years and years, but I could see that she had 2 prospects set up in the system that matched the criteria that I had for this listing. I can also see, sadly, one of Lisa's prospects actually thumbs down the listing. She didn't like it. She didn't like the front interior space. But I sent a reverse prospect to Lisa to remind her that, hey, you have a client right now that matches the new listing that I just put in the system. So what is really interesting here is you can see Melanie Labate does a lot of business in my particular area. I can see that she's got more than 4 prospects set up in the system. She does a ton in the area where I listed this home. And so I can see right now that she's a good one to reach out to. Not only does she have 1 prospect, she's got 4 or 5, or at least 4 here. Down below, I can see all of the agents who have set up a client with that prospect. And if I want to reach out to one particular agent, let's say Maria McGuire happens to be a good friend of mine, if I want to go ahead and reach out to her only to send information about my listing, I can go ahead, select just Maria. I can click on the email button over here to the right. And now I can tell Maria more information than she could actually see in the MLS about my listing. Now, what I really like and what I've been doing is I actually create a Canva flyer. I add that in here. You can add flyers, you can add pictures, you can add link. Now, I'm going to say this because this is always the next question I get from agents. If my seller is offering some type of compensation, can I put that in here? The answer is no to that. And let me explain why. This is an MLS tool that we built. Actually, we built this. This wasn't something that we purchased or got from another vendor. We actually built this from the ground up. And when I say what we built, meaning we've built a lot of like different prospecting and a lot of things that you're going to see coming up that you're going to even be able to use in here. And I'm going to tell you more about that in just a couple of minutes. But you can't, because it's an MLS product and it's coming through the MLS from agent to agent, it still cannot contain commissions or things like that. Now, if your seller is stating that maybe that they're going to give an allowance for the roof, or they're giving a carpet allowance, or you want to, I did a feature sheet. I created this really nice feature sheet in Canva, and I use that. You can add links, you can add additional information that they can't see. So if there is some type of incentive, that they're offering like new carpeting, or they are offering to replace the roof with a full price offer or something like that, you can actually put that in here. What I liked is I'm seeing a lot of agents who create those feature sheets that really are a great way to sell and market not only to the agent, but the agent can simply forward this on to their client if they like it. So it's a way to not only reach out to the agent, but to even give more information than you can include in the MLS. So again, if you have questions on this, feel free to fire them into that questions box that you find in GoToWebinar. Lisa's standing ready to answer those questions as they come in. But if you wanted to, let's say we didn't just want to send it to Maria. We wanted to send it to all 59 prospects, all 59 agents that actually have people set up in the system. So Shirley happens to be at my company. I just adore her. She's cute as a button. If I want to reach out to her, I can individually do that by simply selecting her. But if I wanted to send this to everybody at once, I can simply go up to this email all. And as you can see, it says right here, it's confirming that all reverse prospects that were found for this listing are going to receive what I customize. You don't want to send anything in that box. There is like a little auto-generated message that will appear there, but I encourage you, nobody wants to get 50 of the same, hey, you have a prospect that matches they want additional details. And this is a great way to set yourself apart and to give more information on your listings. So again, just because it's brand new, again, you guys are the first group I'm getting to show this to. So it's always a little nerve-wracking, I'm going to be honest, when you're showing it for the very first time. But how we got here was we went into Paragon Connect right onto our desktop. We went right into the listing section. You want to go, because you're doing something with this specific listing. I'm going to tell you the differences in a moment. You're going to go to the published button. You're going to find that those little menu dots right here. It's going to open up that flyout window. And I'm going to go into reverse prospecting. And this is going to show me, now this is another one of his listings. So you're going to see some different people listed on this one. And then all I'm going to do is decide, do I want to individually sell this to a particular agent, or do I want to reverse prospect everybody? And then you're going to use that little email button right up here to the right, and that's going to allow you to send it out. So not hard, and it's a great way to give more exposure to your listings. The other thing I want to point out is and Lisa actually had a client who favorited a home. I was looking at, I think it was Mary Rose, a good friend of mine. I was showing this to her, to kind of do a quick run through. And Lisa had a prospect that was set up as a buyer that had favorited. If they favored it, you will see that. I was hoping maybe one of these would have favorited. You'll see a heart next to that prospect. Now, what was very interesting about when I was showing it to my friend Mary Rose is she was getting ready to accept a lowball offer. Then she saw, oh my gosh, Lisa has a client who favorited this listing. What was interesting about that, she could see when the client received the listing and when she favorited the listing. So this was very interesting because now this gave Mary Rose the opportunity to reach out to Lisa to say, hey, you know what? I see you have a client that favorited this listing. We're just getting ready to take an offer. Did you want to show it? And it happened that Lisa's client had only favored it 2 days before they got this lowball offer. So by right here where this thumbs up that you see, you can see if a client rejected it, which is just a red thumbs down. You can see if there's a red heart. That will show you that the client was interested in it. So again, if you're getting ready to take an offer, this is really a good place to check. Just make sure that there are no clients who've recently favored it that you haven't got in the door. So let's see if I can go back to the other one. So none of these particular clients, unfortunately, have either favorited or rejected them. They're basically sitting in their Collab Center account right now. But this is a way to, again, check all of your listings. If you're getting ready to take an offer, you can see if someone had some additional interest. But if I go back to published right here, Lisa, I don't even know if you knew that happened with Mary Rose, but it was really funny. I'm like, oh, Lisa. And she goes, oh, Lisa's client favorited it. I should reach out to her. And so that's kind of how that story happened. But right up here, if I go back again to, let's use a different one. Let me grab this one. If a client favorited something on this Buckingham Avenue, I would see that when I go to reverse prospecting. This client had a question. Okay, so we talked about if there's a heart next to it, you know that the client favored it. If it's a red thumbs down, you know they didn't like it at all. But this one would be an interesting one to follow up with, at least, because this person asked a question about this particular listing. So again, that meaning that person being the client asked their agent a question via the Collab Center, and of course it's recording that. So not only do you see the favorites, you see if there were questions on, you might want to just reach out, see if there was any additional information that you may have or anything that you could assist with that question. But this is kind of giving you a heads up of what is actually going on in the Collab Center between their client and the agent. Now, the question I generally get here is, well, can you, the listing agent, see the buy side's client name? And the answer is no. That's why you see this prospect ID. When it goes to the listing agent, they can see who their prospect is. I'm going to show you where to find that too in your own clients. So they can see where the prospect is, but you on the listing agent side, you do not get to see who that buyer is working with. So you see the agent, but you don't really know what that buyer's name is. I hope I made that clear, because that would be a concern of mine is, oh my gosh, are they seeing my client's name? I don't want that. And the answer is absolutely not. They're only seeing you, the agent, with your contact information. So if I go right here, I could reach out to the agent on my phone, place a phone call. Again, I could select an individual agent, or I could do a select all and send it to all of those prospects. So hopefully I've kind of given you a sneak peek. Again, this is brand new, but I've got some friends who are just starting to use it this morning. I'm getting some myself. So I encourage you, if you have a listing where maybe you're trying to give it a little bit more exposure, this is a great place to start. And by the way, brand new, so you're going to be one of the first ones doing it. I do encourage you to make a little flyer or feature sheet to add more value to it. We all don't want to get just, 10 a day of, hey, you got a prospect match. Although that's nice, it's a nice reminder. The idea is this is where you can now give additional value. All right, so let me show you something else new. On your listings. Yes, oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry to interrupt her real quick. But just an agent said she was clicking on the 3 dots, but she's not seeing the option for reverse prospecting.
Okay, great. And I bet I can answer why that's happening. So a lot of people are going over here to the list. I get this call probably in the last 24 hours. I've gotten it a few times now. There's 2 places to see your listing. So I'm so glad you asked this question. So thank you for doing that. You can see your listings here, and a lot of people are clicking on it here to open the listing. Remember, you are going to do something. You're going to publish something with this listing. So when you're doing this, there's a very important step that I'm actually on the beta testing for this. So I've given some feedback. I'd like to see this managed a little bit better, meaning I'd like to make it 1 instead of 2 spots. But when you're going to your listings and it opens up this listing, don't click here from published. If you're doing it the first time, I did it myself and I thought, oh my gosh, mine's broken, it doesn't have it. You've got to go up to this published. Okay, so when you click on that published button, that's when you're going to see the menu dots to the right, right on that listing, and to the right should be where your flyout window is. You do have to scroll down too. If you've got your resolution set very high, this was another piece that I gave in feedback. If you've got your resolution set extremely high, it looks like it stops at floor plans. It doesn't. You got to scroll on down. You can see there's even more than you saw on mine. You can share things, you can assign to a lot of things you can do. But here, I want to point out, you got to scroll down to that contact options. It should be there. As long as your listing is active, you should be able to click on those menu dots. I think you can do active and pending. Yeah, active and pending. Closed, obviously, they would not be in your public status. So active and pending, and then you're going to see reverse prospecting. But let me know if you followed the steps. You got to click that publish button. I'm hoping that will go away at some point because it is kind of confusing, but let me know if that in fact solved your problem. If not, then we'll reach out to you after the class. But I've gotten this call a few times now and it's resolved everybody else's. So, but do please let Lisa know if it's all set. Any other questions, Lisa, before we move on?
Nope, we're good. Thank you.
All right. One other thing I want to point out is this is a moving target when you're doing reverse prospecting. And I was kind of like, okay, let me tell you what I mean. So I go into reverse prospecting the first time and I have 59 prospects, but I log in tomorrow and 3 more people have added a client that matches my criteria, right? So how do you know which ones you've already sent the reverse prospecting? You don't want to send it 8 times, right? Because that's going to be annoying and they're going to block you. So we don't want that. So how do you know who you've sent what to? Well, just like if you're using the Collab Center, everything that you send out is tracked in Paragon and Paragon Connect. So let me show you where you're going to find that. 1, the new agents are always going to appear at the top. You'll also see when those matches happened. As I mentioned, when we opened Mary Rose's, she's getting ready to take this low ball offer when she realizes a day, I think it was 2 days before, Lisa's client favorites it and it shows up with a big red heart. So she knows, wow, before we take this offer, I'm gonna just double check with Lisa, right? So you can see new activity, and the new activity is generally at the top. So those new agents are gonna appear at the top. But if you are looking at it and you're like, and if you've got multiple listings, you don't remember where you stopped reverse prospecting, right? So let me show you where you find those very important emails. Every time something goes out in the Collab Center, every time you reverse prospect, every time you email a client that's set up, that's being recorded. And it's very helpful. I walked into my own office recently and an agent just about chewed my ear off. That's the great thing about working at the MLS and being an agent, right? I walk in and she goes, oh, my client's so upset she's going to fire me. She said I never sent her this house, and why didn't Collab Center send? Well, so I said, okay, let's take a look at it. We went into the Collab Center. Sure enough, it was there. The client had not seen it. It was still in there. They hadn't done anything with it. They hadn't favored it. They hadn't even logged in. It was still sitting there. So she was able to resend it, but having that history to say, yes, actually it's there, don't panic. Or yes, it was sent to you, 2 days ago. Having that history is very important. Where you find that history is going to be under those menu dots over here to the left. And it's under my content. So if you click on my content, this will show you requested showings that you've requested. This will show you your listing cards if you have listing cards that are set up. Where we're going to go right now is message history. Anything you've sent out, you can see this one came out from the Collab Center. I know Hank has been using reverse prospecting. He's been testing it out for us. So I don't know if he did it on this particular listing, but all of those are always tracked in the My Content. So I can click this open. I can see who it went to. I can see the date it went out. I can see it was automatically emailed on this date, on the 16th. If I want to see the actual house it's referring to, that's there as well. So all of that is right there. If I want to resend this to the client, I can go ahead and click on the share button. I can share it via email and send it via text. I can copy the link and send it in Messenger. I can send it in Messenger on Facebook. I can tweet it out. The whole point is you can go back in and see all of that content. So if you're worried, oh my gosh, did I send this to this agent already? It's being tracked. It knows all of the agents you sent it to. So if you're looking to find an only reverse prospect to new agents in the system, you can do that as well. So that is something that was just rolled out. And again, that's going to be all new. Some other benefits, let me just jump back in here. Again, this is the first time I'm showing a lot of this, so hopefully I'm not jumping you around too much. But some of the other benefits, as I mentioned, of using the Paragon Connect system is it has better photo editing than Paragon itself. I know, seems weird, right? But you can actually pull prospects from your phone. You can actually pull photos now from your phone and edit them in better photo editing tools than we even had in Paragon. So truly some great enhancements. Okay, so now I talked about the publish button and reverse prospecting. You're doing something with that listing, right? You're publishing something, you're sending something out. That's always when you're going to want to use the button. But what about if you just want to go in and change something on your listing? So if I want to go into Hank's Riverside here and I just want to edit something, that's what this listing, this basically long list of your listings is for. So two different things. If you're going to think of it this way, if you're going to do something and publish something on that listing, that's where you're going to go to that published button. If you are going to just edit something, or maybe you want to add more photos, or you want to use the next tool I'm going to show you, that's going to be right from the listing list. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to click on this Riverside here. And this is, as you can see, it looks great on a desktop, but on your phone, it's even more streamlined. But if I want to change something, maybe I want to add a feature that I forgot to add. Maybe I want to add in a missing room that I forgot to measure. Maybe I want to add in some additional details to my comments. You can do all of that now on your phone. That's even better than we could do in HomeSnap. In HomeSnap, we could only edit comments, open houses, and prices. Oh, and status. So you can only edit those 4 things. Now you can go in and you can edit anything on your listing. So it's gotten a lot better. Let's go into clicked open features. That's kind of given us a lot. So I want to show you a couple of the other things too. I'm going to go to kind of shrink these up a little bit so you don't see quite as much. Let's say that, let's go all the way back up to shrink some of these just to give you a little more space to see. There we go. So let's say I want to go in, I want to change something in my remarks. Again, I can go right to that on my phone. I can make those changes very easily. But I want to show you a new tool that was just released, and it's called the price analysis tool. And basically, the price analysis tool, I think, is really neat, and it's going to keep even getting better. But sometimes there is a sweet spot. Okay, meaning that sometimes you may have this at, and it was really funny because one of them that I showed when I was kind of beta testing this, the sweet spot was literally $5,000 away. And the agent was asking, do you think I should lower this 20,000? And it turns out they really only needed to lower it 5,000 and they were going to get so many more views. So let me show you what I mean. Right in the listing itself, when you've clicked on it from the listing list, there's these little hamburger, there's a bunch of different icons up here at the top. If you wanted to add photos from your phone, you could do that. You could edit them, as I mentioned. But right over here, there is a new button that allows you to use the price analysis tool. So in this particular example, when we were looking at reverse prospecting, Hank had 58 people that were set up in the system with this price range and this criteria. But if you were looking at trying to get a price reduction from a seller, you might want to show them where the sweet spot is. It might not be 5,000. It might be the 20,000. How are we going to get enough eyes to get more people in, especially if your listing's been out there for 90 days or whatever it happens to be? So let's take a look. How this tool works is right now I can see there are 58 prospects that are set up that match. If I adjust this price, how many more prospects would actually match this? So let's say, you know, Hank's saying, you know, hey, maybe we didn't get a whole lot of showings on this. What if we drop it under, just underneath 1 million? Is it actually worth it? When you recalculate that, it's going to show you, actually, we only picked up 7 buyers from recalculating it at that price. And $1 million ones are probably not the best to show. They're really interesting when you're getting in that 350 or 400,000 range. Sometimes dropping at 5,000 brings you an additional 60 people that are set up in the system currently. So I thought this was a great tool, especially if you're just trying to get that sweet spot. Sometimes just showing your seller, you know what, if we just drop it 10,000, we're going to get 100 more people or prospects that are set in the system. Again, $1 million one's a little bit tougher, but on your listing, if you're looking to find sometimes that sweet spot, you don't have to change the price to that, but you can go in and you can just see how many more eyeballs are actually going to come in at that point. You can also add valuations that are telling you maybe what that property, I personally still don't think those are there. I don't like them. I don't ever use that tool. I think, you know, there are reasons that we are still the trusted professional. You know, Zillow may be great, but Zillow can't go in and smell if there's a cat. If you've ever been in a house that's the subflooring is saturated because they had a cat, you're going to know that that's going to take a lot to pull that out, and a buyer is going to smell that immediately when you come through. Zillow can't do that through the internet, right? So there is still true value. Being able to set that price and show them how you can get more eyes and more traffic in on their home, that I think is crucial. So anyway, if you decide, if you're talking to the seller, you show them, hey, got a sweet spot here, and I'm gonna just use a rough example. This would probably not be a best one for $1 million property, but just to give you that rough idea, you can go ahead and adjust that price. You can certainly see a lot more people are set up at that price range with that criteria, right? Then we started off with our 59. If you decide that seller says, you know what, yeah, that's the price I'm going to end up with, you can also apply that price to your listing right from here. So it really, it's a great tool if you're trying to find that sweet spot. Lisa, do we have any questions? Turn my heater off here. Do we have any questions that we can address on this one?
Yes. Let me see. It said the scratch and sniff test not seen through pictures.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, I love that. That is a very, very good way to put that. You're right. And I believe me, I see what's coming now. Zillow has a new, well, it's actually Showing Time, but if you don't know, Showing Time is owned by Zillow too. They own Loop. They pretty much are buying every piece of the transaction up, right? They have just now released, they know that the missing piece for them is floor plans, and they know they got to get people in the house. That's their next step. They continue to lose money on their iBuyer program. If you remember, when Zillow came out, they said they were never ever going to compete with realtors. They were never going to be a broker. Guess what? They're a broker in all 50 states now. They were never going to compete until their iBuyer program came out. And guess what? Now they're competing. They were also, they know that the one critical piece that they don't have is the fact that they don't have the smell test and they don't have the layouts inside of the home when using things like iBuyer. So now, conveniently enough, Showing Time just announced they have this new photography program, and for dirt cheap, and I do mean it's pretty inexpensive, they will come out, they will do your floor plan, they will take your photos, they will do all of that for you. Fine print though, you've given them the rights to all of that, and they can do whatever they want with it in the future. So a lot going on with that. So it's definitely things to watch. For me, I want to be able to offer that value to my seller of telling them, hey, this is where the market is. Yes, we're going to need to replace some subflooring in here because it knocked me over when I walked, I wouldn't quite say it like that, but knocked me over when I walked in here. And you're very right. This is where a trusted professional is going to have to help them, not only just help them, but a lot of times we can recommend people that you've used before and have great experiences with. So that's the true value there. Some of the other value, and then I'm going to get into some basics of Paragon too, because I know we have some new people on the call. Some of the other value too, though, is for the first time, if you set your clients up in the Collab Center, you are able to give your clients more than they can see on any other IDX site. And you're probably thinking, Colleen, what are you talking about? Well, up to now, we've really had a problem because they could pretty much get all the information that we could give them, and sometimes find it faster on Zillow or Realtor.com or some of these other sites. But what if I told you, you, the professional, now can give them something they can't see on those other sites? So let me show you. If you are using the Collab Center, so I'm just going to jump over, and actually I'm going to go back to me so I can show you some of my own examples. Again, I don't get all the fancy listings. They're not as much fun to show, but I'll at least show you some examples that I've set up for you. In the Collab Center, again, is really just a saved search that you have set up for a contact. And you can see everything right under your contact section. So if I go to my contact section, view or manage contacts, I can see anytime a client has logged in. Well, the first thing I want to show you is you can see when you added them. Remember that reverse prospecting number I told you about? That's right here. So if an agent reaches out and says, hey, you've got this prospect, 129963, and they match my listing, and I just thought I'd touch base with you, see if you had any questions on it. They can see what that prospect number is here. You can see when you added them to the Collab Center. You can see when they last logged into the Collab Center. You can see when they got their last notification. One of the things I love is you can also, shrink this a little bit, you can see how many properties they favorited. Those immediately come to you, so I can schedule showings on those. By the way, did you notice you can schedule all 14 showings by just clicking on that number? You don't have to individually go in and try to schedule them one by one. You can do them all in a Showing Time cart. It's awesome. But basically, let me show you what I'm talking about in the way of we're giving more value than they can find on these other sites. When you go into the Collab Center and they're getting these properties, they now can see things like rules and regs. If it's a condo and there's bylaws, they can see those things. They can see the seller's disclosures and lead-based paint documents. When they go in for the first time, if you're setting them up in the Collab Center, they can see those documents right from here. So right here, a really good example. I didn't even plan this. I swear I didn't check this one before, so that never happens. I'm feeling kind of blessed right now. The rules and regs for this condo: can they have 2 dogs? Can they have a cat? Is there a size limit? The master deed and bylaws is right here. The seller's disclosure. Your clients now have access to see this. So again, the true value, I think, is, especially if you're like me and you're calling these agents who don't bother to put in any information about the condo, association, like can they have a dog? All of that is right here now. So you are able to not only give more than they could find. They can't find these on Zillow. They can't find them on Realtor.com or these other sites. So by setting them up in the Collab Center, you're doing 2 things. A lot of these sites are still using outdated feeds. They're calling you and they're saying, hey, Lisa, how come you didn't send me 123 Main Street? And Lisa looks it up and says, well, it's because it closed 30 days ago, right? That's happening all the time. This is a way that they're actually using the MLS database. They see it live. If it's updated, they see it updated right away. But this is a way way you also now, whether it's real comp documents, whether it's my real source documents, as long as those documents are placed in associated documents in the MLS, those documents are now going to appear for your clients to see. So I think that's a great thing, again, giving us a true advantage as the trusted professional, giving us one more piece that they can't get anywhere else. So I hope you've enjoyed that little bit of a tour of the kind of what's new in the Paragon Connect system. Price analysis tool, big win, I think, for us there. Reverse prospecting, I love that. I think especially as we enter into the market we're kind of heading into, I think that there's going to be a true need to make more known, even more, and to dress it up. Let's face it, it's going to be a lot more attractive than if you just put it in remarks, or if you make a flyer sheet that has all these additional features, so many that you couldn't get them all into the MLS. It makes a whole different presentation when you're presenting it to the agent. The other thing I want to show you, and this is going to be, now, if you're, let me address this first because I always get myself in trouble here. If you are coming in from one of our vendored MLSs, meaning whether you're coming in from Clare Gladwin or Bay County or Midland or Saginaw or Upper Peninsula, wherever you're coming from, you may have some of about what I'm going to show you, but you may not have this newest piece because we're still beta testing it ourselves. If you are a My Real Source member, you're going to have this turned on right now and you can start using it. What this is right now, more than ever, we are looking for ways to show our sellers all that we're doing for them, right? Because they have, let's face it, for 5 years now, they've heard about, oh my gosh, I'm gonna list my home, get multiple offers, and I'm gonna end up with a cash sale over asking. It was almost like they felt like it was a guarantee, right? They put their house on, now they put their house on the market, and guess what happens? Unfortunately, it's taking a little bit longer, not getting the amount of showings that. So right now it's going to be an important time for us to tell those sellers everything that we're doing, not just tell them, but physically show them. Okay, so where we're going to start now is we're going to talk about the single property website. Some of you already have this, even some of our vendored MLSs have this piece. And it's a way where when you add your listing into the MLS, it creates a website that is specific for your listing. So I'm gonna kind of show you where you find it. And Lisa, if you don't mind, I think I'm gonna use your listing. So
I have a couple pendings. I don't think I have anything active left, but
hey, that's a good problem to have, huh?
absolutely, I'll take it.
All right, so I'm gonna use your pending if that's all right, with your blessing. All right, so where you find the single property website is basically it's emailed to you right after you put a new listing into the system, but you can always find them under resources, under the property inventory links. Okay, so under the property inventory links, as you can see, Lisa sells a lot. She sells more than I would ever dream of selling, but she's got 2 pendings right here, so we're going to use this. The single property website is really a website that's designed for you to share it out with high resolution photos, looks great on a phone, and you can share it with stuff you can't just share in the MLS. Like for instance, Lisa can have her own branded virtual tour. She could put her own 30-second video from her phone, like how she works with great first-time home buyers. She'd love to get you in this house. And those branded tours, which you can put into the MLS, but they don't automatically go out to other agents' clients. They're kind of hidden, if you will. Every listing has a place when you're putting it in where you can put branded and unbranded tours. If you don't know what the difference is, unbranded just means it's generic. That means that's what's going to go out as a generic virtual tour. So if Lisa's client gets it, they're not going to get my contact information, right? They should only be working with Lisa. They're under contract with Lisa, so they should be getting Lisa's information only. But at the same time, we want you to be able to promote yourself on your website. We want you to be able to promote yourself on things like this single property website that you're looking. So you can actually, what this does is it grabs that branded tour and it says, hi, my name is Lisa. You know, I've been doing this for over 30 years. I specialize in first-time home buyers. Let me tell you about my new listing here. Here's my phone number. These, of course, would be things that aren't going out to someone else's client, but Lisa could easily share these things out onto social media. So for instance, if Lisa wants to put this on her Facebook, if she wants to maybe post it on her business page or her personal page, she can share it easily with these share buttons. She can obviously tweet it out, put it on Pinterest, put it on LinkedIn, email it out to someone. There's all different ways that you can share it. You can just share the link if you wanted to do it that way. But as they go through and on their phones, it looks even nicer. It's going to blow up in that high gallery view. Ooh, I like that ceiling, so that's pretty. So you can literally go through on your phone in that gallery style view, but I like that it's very user friendly. It's obviously going to show them the room measurements, some of the features of the home, but down below, it's only showcasing Lisa's other actives, pendings, and I think it's 6 months of solds as well. So when Lisa goes to share this, it's not sharing the person who just bought the zip code. I hate that. I hate we build our listings, right? We do these great remarks. We make the listings look so good. Some of us hire professional photographers, or we take really great photos, and then we share them from some place that just gave our lead away to an agent who just bought the zip code. I will never understand that. This is a way when you share it, no matter who shares it on your behalf, it's only sharing Lisa's information. It's not showing a bunch of other people's listings. These are all Lisa's actives, pendings, or solds. So the idea is when I share it from here easily, I'm really still promoting Lisa. So the single property website is turned on for most of our vendor MLSs. It's turned on for all of my RealSource members, but we've added to this. The piece that just came out last night is called the Listing Activity Report. So let me show you where we're going to find it, just where we went. So if you remember, we went to Paragon, we went to Resources. Actually, let me just show you again, because I know some people are like, where did she go, that lady with the big hair? She talks so fast. We went to Resources. We are going right to Property Inventory links right here. And this is going to show us all of our listings. And we just clicked on the single property website by clicking on it. We could easily share it. However, there's a new button, but I promise if you go by it too fast, you'll miss it, because I did even when they told me it was turned on. There's a new listing stats button. If you click on that listing stats, this is going to be a report that you now can send to your seller. Now, there's one piece that hasn't been turned on yet. I believe it's going to be turned on next week, and this is the piece that's going to finish this product off. But I'll back up and explain that in just a second. So this is going to be a report that you can send to your seller that Lisa can say, well, actually, you know what? When they're saying, well, what did you do to get my home sold? How come we're not getting enough showings? Lisa can say, well, actually, search impressions, you've had 24,577 search impressions. And you're probably wondering, well, what does that mean? So if you're like me and you're like, what exactly would that entail? There's a little help icon right there, a little tooltip that says the number of times that your listing appeared on Realtor.com searches, meaning it came up in the long list, right? This shows the visibility. So is it what they're requesting? Is it what they're searching for? Because this came up 25,577 times. But how many actual clicks on the listing were actually generated? So Lisa can see right here that 824 people clicked on her listing on Realtor.com. So again, if you're kind of confused of what the difference is, there's a little explanation right here. That means out of the 24,000 people who had it in their search results, 824 looked at it, clicked on it, and wanted to know something about it, or looked on it and clicked on it. From here, there's also days tracked. So we're looking at 21 days right here. Average daily views, about 40. That's a good amount. So Lisa's getting eyes in from Realtor.com. If you're looking where to maybe place some advertising money, this is a very clear indication Lisa's actually getting more in from Realtor.com than she is from Zillow. So some of these are really interesting to me. This is also showing you total views. And there's also a little tooltip. Again, the total views is the cumulative number of times your listing has been viewed across all of them. And then in the last 73 days, there's been 93 total views in the last 30 days. So we can see the majority of their traffic, right, was right away when it went, which is pretty common. But we can also see the breakdown. We can see Zillow, Trulia, the single property website, and coming, and I know I was hoping it would already be here for today, but it's not finished yet. They're pulling in the My RoSource data. So you'll be able to see how many people are, again, seeing it in the collab center. That's, I think, a really critical piece. But I know my sellers right now, they want to know how many eyes are looking at it on Zillow, because they all think, Zillow's the end all. So right now we can at least show that. So it's a way that we can showcase that. Down below, we can see information on where most traffic is coming from. We can see the breakdowns of when it was coming in. Again, some of these are showcasing 7 days, some of them are showcasing 30 days. So you do have to look. But if you want the breakdown to see how you're going to explain it to your seller, you can actually click on this View Detailed Zillow report, and it opens up an entire report that explains where these numbers were generated. So I can see how many people. So really look at Lisa's performance in Zillow when in the last 7 days. We can see 82% of people were looking on Zillow. She had 112 search impressions. Again, 92 actually clicked on it. That's a really good rate. That means the pictures are probably good enough that they're seeing it in their search impressions, they're clicking on it, and they're going further. So these are all just great tools, I think, as we head into this market to get familiar with, to show our sellers what we're doing. Now, the piece that's not here yet, as I mentioned, is the MLS piece. That's coming. The other piece that is not here yet, that is coming as well, is the frequency report. What you're going to be able to do, like you could in the old List Track. Before List Track, we used to provide a product called List Track, and it did some of this, but the numbers were wildly inaccurate. You'd open it up one day and it would say you had 20,000 views on Zillow. You open it the next day and it said nobody looked at it. Well, we couldn't trust it because the data wasn't good. And if you can't trust a product because the data isn't good, what's the sense of having it, right? You get this false data. So we decided we're going to build our own. So we contracted with a company to pull from Zillow and Realtor.com, and we created this from scratch. And it's going to have a frequency report. And what that means is you're going to be able to go in and say, I want to send this to my seller once a week. I want to send it to my seller once a month. And you're going to be able to put your seller's contact information in, and it will automatically send this report. So that piece isn't finished. It's almost done. It should be released, and we'll put a notification out when that's released. But that's coming too. So you'll have these great notifications that can be automatically sent out to sellers on your behalf, and it will show them everything you're doing to try to get that property sold. Okay, so let's go into some Paragon basics. Lisa, is there any questions on any of the new stuff? It took a little longer to get through the new stuff than we normally spend on it, but again, it was just, a lot of this was just completed last night, so stay tuned. It's going to be getting even better, but I wanted to sort of showcase and highlight and lead off with that. Any questions before we go into some Paragon basics?
If you just want to show really quick again, one of the agents missed, we're in the resource tab that we get to our single property website and how you get the data that you just showed. Just want to show more quick.
So we're trying, and the goal, and I know Lisa and I have been kind of harping on this for a long time, we're trying to get all of your great tools in one spot. When Lisa and I started at the MLS, and Lisa started teaching even before I did, she taught me a lot of what I know. But they would hide the tools, and it made us insane because some would be under resources, some would be under listings, some would be under contacts, some would be, and it was like, oh my God, where do you find it? So kind of think of it this way. Any tool that we're going to start showing you, we're trying to put under resources because we want you to have one place to go so it's not so confusing. As an agent, I think it's insane when you have us going to 10 different icons to try to find the tools that we need to work with. So everything is going to be under resources, everything from the recorded webinar today to more classes, to your Con Ed, how to look it up. But where we went today was under social media and lead gen under the resources section. And we went to the property inventory links. This is where you find your single property website. And this is again where you're going to find that new listing stats report, which will be located directly underneath it. You see the close does not have it. It will only be available for your actives and your pendings. All you're going to do is click on that listing stats report. If you want to break down, how many eyes came in from each place, there's a report underneath that. But again, you'll be able to set up a frequency that you can share this with your seller. The frequency part is not done. You can simply share the link right now. Each link is custom to that specific property. So I've been just sending my sellers the link, but very, very soon, I'm hoping in the next week, you're going to have a share button right here at the top of the listing. It'll look just like the traditional share button, kind of with the lines with the little 3 circles. You'll be able to share it out, and you'll be able to put in your seller contact information so it's more automated. But don't be afraid to copy and paste this link that you see right up here at the top. You can share it until that. I wanted to get it out so people could start using it, especially because the market is changing. I know they said it was going to be a little bit longer, but we're kind of like, well, let's push it out. Let's show them how to share it right now, but just know it's going to be even easier. You'll be able to use that share button here shortly. Okay. Anything else, Lisa?
No, we're good. Thank you so much.
All right. Awesome. All right. So let's talk. I know that there's a few new people on the call, and we've spent a lot of time going over the new stuff, but we also want to highlight some ways to make searching easier, some common questions that we get. And so we're going to go kind of into searching. So think of this, when you are using Paragon, there are basically 3 ways to search. You want to find one property fast. You're looking to find one property, one agent, or one MLS number fast. That's really what this top power search is for. So let's say I want to find a particular address. Want to go in and, oops, I thought that was it. Oh, it's 43. I don't want to go in and spend a bunch of time putting in the city and the area and the county. I just want to find one property fast. So all you're going to do is type in 1, 2, 3. Think of it like Google, though. You want to put in less is best. You want to put in 123 Main Street. You don't want to put in a lot of information. Just the basic route street address, meaning don't type out the whole boulevard or the street. Just put in the main address. As you can see, it'll quick fill as you're going. Actives always pop up at the top because they figure if somebody's calling on it and you want to find it very quickly, by typing it in here, you can find it by just the address. It's going to pop up the most recent or actives right at the top. So if I wanted to find that 123 Main Street, I can simply click on it, open up that property record. If I want to go ahead and simply share it while I'm on the phone with that person, I can hit share. Maybe I want to text it over to them so they can be looking at it on their phone. I can go in, quickly pull from a contact that I maybe already have set up in Paragon, or I can quickly add somebody new on the fly with their cell phone number and send it to them immediately. So very, very easy to share listings. You can, of course, save the listing. You can email the listing out, but I think more of us are really texting things today. We're also, or sending the link out, from your phone to theirs or vice versa. So being able to pull it up fast is really what this whole power search is. But I want to show you a couple other things that I get questions on. So a lot of people say, well, I was looking for 123 Main Street, but I was looking for the closed sale. Well, maybe you want to see all 10 records that came up. You can actually click on, a lot of people don't know this, you can click on this listings 10 right here, and I can bring up all of those listings. So if you're looking for a particular closed record, maybe it's closed 2 or 3 times and you just want to find the closed record, you can do that from there. But there's some other quick tips that I want to give you. Like one of the things that I don't like in the search results, the way it's set up, Lisa and I have been selling real estate long enough that we've had mostly positive experiences with agents. I would say 90% of mine are positive. We've also had a few agents that haven't returned one single call, and I felt like I carried both their client and my client through the transaction. You know, those few agents that are out there. If I'm going to show 10 homes and I have a chance to work with someone like Lisa, who I've always had great experiences with, and I see this person that never returned my calls, if I'm going to show 10, I'm going to put him probably at the bottom. Not that I wouldn't show it, because that would be wrong, but I'm not going to rush like I'm going to rush when Lisa has a new listing. So, but seeing that in your search results helps me a lot. So what I want to point out is, in your search results, if something isn't there that you would like to be part of your search results, like in my case, I like to have the listing agent name and their phone number right displayed in my search results. So if I'm going to decide to show 10 properties fast, I want to put maybe I want to put Andrea up at the top. So I can actually see who had the property listed as well as their cell phone number in case I have a question. So how you customize your search results, or pretty much anything in Paragon, quite honestly, is there are these customized widgets on almost every screen. So I'm going to show you real quick how you can make your search results more effective. So if I go to customize and I click on fields here, this is going to show you all the fields that you currently have in your search results. And I'm going to take out agent just so I can kind of show you how to add them in here. If there's something you don't want in your search results, don't be afraid to select it and remove it. I have friends tell me that every time they go to the search results, they're frustrated because they have to scroll all the way over to the right to see price per square foot closed. If that's happening to you, move that thing. Or, you know, if there's fields here that you don't ever use, you're never going to search on, like one agent said, what the heck is an originating MLS and why do I need to? If that's something you're never going to search on and you don't want it in your search results, don't be afraid to go in and remove it. You can always go back to your defaults right here. If you screw it up and you're like, oh my God, I hate what I did, don't worry, you can always go back to your defaults. But if you're like me and you want to see when you're getting ready to show those houses, who has it listed right in your view, all you're going to do is go to the group. There's agent, office, team, features. We're going to go to agent because obviously we want to add the agent name in. And the easiest way for me is you could go down this list or you could simply type in agent name, but I can see agent name right here. I'm going to select that. I'm going to add it. Now it always drops it at the bottom. Here's your next time-saving tip. Instead of having to always go to the bottom, why not move that by dragging and dropping? You can put that wherever you want. So if I want the agent name, instead of the agent name and phone number to be the second field, I can put it in that order. So what I'm saying is, if you're constantly scrolling over to the right to find something, stop doing that. Simply either grab your column and move it over. In this case, they're active, so household's probably not the perfect one, but I'm going to go ahead. If there's something that like price per square foot when you're looking at closed, if you don't always want to scroll over, don't be afraid to move these things. Again, if you move them, it will actually change it. You'll see it says right in your preferences, it's saving that. You can always go back to your defaults, but don't be afraid to add things that are going to help you search more effectively. Remember that when you've got these, and I'm going to flip these around a little bit here. I'm going to click on asking price so we see some of the nicer ones at the top instead of all the leases, right? Don't be afraid when you're going into the listing itself to click on these colorful action links. These all do something for you. So for instance, if I wanted to go right into the BS&A record for this specific property, now I am aware if you're coming in from our vendor MLSs, you may not have all of these. It's dependent on what your MLS currently offers. But if you're teaching, if you're in Lisa's public records class, she's going to teach you how you can click on this little icon. It kind of looks like a trash can. I'm sorry, it's not supposed to. It's supposed to be a government pillar that they stuffed onto the button, and now it looks a little more like a trash can, in my opinion. But when you click on that, the idea of these links is to take you in to that specific program without having to log out, log in somewhere else, then put in a bunch of information. You can see if I really just wanted to know what are the taxes on this property, who owns it, especially with all this wholesaling shenanigans going on right now, I can see that right from here. And these are things that we should be checking. If you've not paid attention to what's going on, there's some huge changes in the way of what we call wholesaling. And it's kind of frightening how many lawsuits are popping up since it's this brand new innovative business model. So you want to be checking who actually owns that property. And you can do that right from here. A lot of times you can see everything from the unpaid water bill. Just had one that was $700. It was shocking to me that there's a $700 unpaid water bill. You probably know that water stays with the property. It's got to be caught up. This home was only $40,000. So that was kind of a big swing in the net out, trust me. You can also see maybe there was a fire. You can see a bunch of building permits and the re-inspects here. These are all great things to check. But again, the nice thing is you can go directly into these other programs by simply clicking on these quick action links. If you've never used the Realist public records, that's here as well. My friend Lisa, as I mentioned, she'll show you how to use Realist to create these awesome sphere of influence areas that you can market to. She'll show you how to do mailing labels. She'll show you all the secrets to really refining who might be a good candidate to start marketing for a listing. And Lisa's been doing this for over 30 years, so she knows all of the secrets. As I mentioned, she taught me a lot of the things that I know. Down below, it'll show you everything from whether it was built on a basement to the year it was built to if it's gone into foreclosure, if it's changed hands. All of that is recorded here. These are all great things that we should be checking every time we go to take a new listing and when we're ready to write our offers too. All right, so there's everything from starting a new transaction to the single property website to doing property flyers if you have an up and coming open house to scheduling a single showing. The documents are here. So these are great things to be familiar with in Paragon as well. All right, so that's the first way to search. By the way, you can do an address, an MLS number, or let's say that you are writing an offer on my listing. And you're like, geez, I need Colleen's email to be able to send it to her. You can also type in an agent name. I can go ahead and click on that agent name. And I actually set myself up in the Collab Center, so I came up twice as a contact and an agent. But I can see all of that contact information here as well. There's also another place to find that. You can find that under search, agent or broker name. You can search if you want to see how many listings Lisa has right now. You can type in Lisa's name and then she'll come up here too as well. Okay, so another quick way to search, and I'm going to tell you, I don't use this as much, but if you are talking to someone on the phone and they have just rattled off 3 addresses they did find on Zillow or some other place, that's really a great opportunity to use the quick search. Now, your quick search when you log in, by the way, may be over here to the right. I don't like it there because I have a little OCD and I like to kind of tab my way through it. So if I'm talking to someone on the phone and I want to quickly enter all that information, I can just use my quick search. And I like it to be the full end so I don't have to scroll down all the time. I can just tab my way through. The reason I'm showing you this is keep in mind, if you are looking for multiple property addresses at one time, I still go into offices and I see so many agents typing in each and every property address to schedule showings or to pull up the information. Stop doing that. That's painful. So if you want a much better way, if they're firing off 10 addresses they just found on Zillow, type them in one field. Let me show you how it works. It's called the full address field. So if I'm looking for the property at 123 Main Street, I'm going to hit 123 Main Street. They tell me they're also looking at 4 or 5, and I'm just making up street names, so don't hold me to these. But if they're looking for 345 West Street, if they're looking for 678 Indian Court, whatever it happens to be, you just hit enter and you can enter multiple addresses in one field. Now, I generally will put in active and pending because I don't want a bunch of closed records. There's obviously going to be closed too. So I generally will put in a status of active or pending and start typing the addresses here. Now, what's interesting here, and again, I randomly just grabbed a couple addresses, but what's interesting here is if your clients have sent you an email, they found 15 properties on Zillow, did you know you can actually copy and paste those addresses in this same field? I know, I did not know that for the longest time, so I'm hopefully saving you headaches. What I do is I generally will take that email, I will hit forward on it, which opens up the spacing in your email, like if you want to change something, just make sure there are commas between the property addresses. Once you've got commas in between all the addresses, simply copy and then paste them into this field. The cool thing about this field is when we built it, and Lisa and I actually were the brain behind talking to Brian about how we hated that people were finding stuff on Zillow faster than we could find it. And so what we did is we built in a built-in wildcard, meaning that there is behind Main, whether it's Main Street, Main Boulevard, Main Drive, Main Way, doesn't matter. It's still going to find it for you. However, there's one little trick you might want to know. Let's say Lisa's client just called and they said to Lisa, well, we're in front of this 123 Gratiot Avenue, but Lisa doesn't know, is it northbound Gratiot or southbound Gratiot? Well, what Lisa can do is Lisa can do an asterisk Gratiot And that will find any directional before the word Gratiot, whether it's westbound, eastbound, southbound, whatever it is. And no matter how the agent put it in, that little asterisk will allow you to kind of use it as a wild card. So it's still going to pull that up for you. All right, so your takeaway so far, if you're looking for one property fast, that's really what the power search is up here at the top. If you're looking for a couple properties quickly that maybe somebody emailed to you or just grabbed a quick floor call and kind of doing a real quick search to see maybe where they're right around, this is a great way to do that. But for most of us, we're doing way more advanced searching than I would use these for. These are great if you want to find one thing fast and not spend a lot of time. But if you want to use the all-new Collab Center, by the way, that's a great class to take if you haven't, then you're really going to want to set up your buyer and marry them to a saved search. So how would you do a more detailed search like that? Well, you'd simply go up to search here at the top. And in this case, let's say your buyer's looking for a single family residential home. So this is where we're going to start adding in our detail. If you're brand new and you don't know what a particular field calls for, I'm going to be totally honest, there are some green California fields in here. I don't even know what they're talking about. So for me, I love these little helpful magnifying glasses to the right. You know, sod roof is probably not one we're going to be real familiar with here in Michigan, but believe it or not, that's in here. There's even decorative outhouse. I kid you not. I laughed when we brought on the Upper Peninsula Association of Realtors, and they actually had a field for decorative. I thought it was a joke, but there are some places up on, it was kind of a learning adventure for me. There's some places up on the cliffs of Lake Superior where the plumbing, it's so rugged, it is only run to the basically the sidewalk, and they do not have indoor plumbing, so it has to be disclosed. So there is everything. There's like 9,000 different fields or different features in here. So you're never going to know them all, I guess is what I'm trying to say. If you don't know what goes in a particular field or feature, do not be afraid to click on that magnifying glass. It will break it down. This field is simply asking, are they looking for a single family home, a condo, or a farm? Lisa sold a farm, but I have not. So I'm going to do a single family here. You can also customize what fields. I was teaching in Detroit the other day, and they said, hey, Detroit is way too big for us to search the way you're searching. We need to break it down by zip codes. So remember, you can add in whatever field you want. So if you see something on my screen today that you don't have, you simply go up to customize, just like I showed you, and you can even drag and drop them into the order that you want. Again, I've added my full addresses to this screen as well in case I'm searching and I want to search with more detail. The nice thing and the tricky thing, I'll show you a little tip that I wish I would have known 10 years ago. If you start typing in an area, because you now see 97% of the state of Michigan in the data sharing, and I'll just say this, in my blonde brain, I thought that the state of Michigan would have one Clinton Township. You can imagine my surprise when I found out there are 6 Clinton Townships in the state of Michigan. I was kind of like, well, that doesn't even make sense, but there are. So how do you know when you're setting up your buyer, which one of those Clinton Townships might be the one in Macomb County? Which one is the Clinton Township up in the UP? Very confusing, right? If you set them up with the wrong one, they certainly aren't going to be getting the properties that they're looking for. So how do you know? So there's 2 ways to do this. One, you could go in and you could say, I'm going to go down to the county and I'm going to say, I only want to see the Clinton Township in Macomb County. Then if I go to area, by the way, you could even save that. I know some of our friends up in the UP, they like to just have properties in the UP. That's really where they specialize. They don't really want to see outside of there. You could save those counties in your searches so that automatically that's what you're seeing. But here I can see now, instead of 6 Clinton Townships, I'm only getting the 1 from Macomb County. Now I'm going to show you something I wish I would have learned years and years and years ago. And matter of fact, I owe Lisa all the credit on this one because she's the one who taught me. I wish she would have taught me years and years ago. But you can see that the identifier, and we use the federal identifiers, not that that's important, but the federal identification number for Macomb County is 50. So the Clinton Township that we're actually looking for is going to start with 50 because it's in that county. So if I take the county out, let me just show you, and I go to area, I'm going to see that when I type in all of those Clinton Townships start popping up, I know the one I want is going to start with 50 because it's in Macomb County. but I promise I'm going somewhere with this. So if I go over to the right, there are certain times that both Lisa and I have worked with an investor. Maybe he's covering 2 counties. Maybe he's looking at Macomb County and Oakland County. And it would be just really nice to have a city or a municipality list of everything that's in the county, just to go through. Maybe they want everything, but they don't like Centerline, they don't like Harrison Township, they don't want to deal with flood insurance or city certs, and just deselect those couple you didn't want. Wouldn't that be nice? Okay, so if you're like me and you think, oh my God, why didn't somebody tell me about this? You can thank Lisa. So I'm going to type in 50 because that's the county identifier for Macomb. And I want to see everything in Macomb County. Meaning I want to see all the cities, municipalities, and I can see right down here there are 26. So I'm going to change this to 50 so I see everything. So let's say my investor says, I want everything, Colleen, in Macomb County, but I don't want Harrison Township because I don't want to worry about flood insurance. And I don't want Centerline because they're pesky about their city certs. I want everything else. Do you see how I added almost an entire county minus those 3 or 4 or 2, however many they didn't want, very easily? So if you're like me, thank Lisa, and especially if you're doing multiple counties and you just want to exclude a few cities, a very easy way is, again, click on that magnifying glass. I think it's 63, I think is Oakland County. So I would do 63 begins with, so anything that starts with 63, which again is that identifier of the county, is going to be listed there. If I wanted to add all of those cities or minus just a couple, I could do that. Sometimes you know that area that they're referring to, but you just want to see a city list to make sure you've covered it all. So I like that you can do that, and I didn't know it for a long time. So thank you again, Lisa. All right, so from here, I'm just going to put in a quick city just for the sake of time here. As I go through, and by the way, you could simply tab your way through. So I know he's looking for actives. I know maybe his price range stops at 700,000. Maybe he's looking from 5 to 7. I'm simply tabbing my way through. Maybe he's looking for a ranch style home only. They don't want to do stairs. I can do one story homes, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms. But the thing I want to show you here is really in most of our searches, especially if you plan on using the collab center, there's more detail. Yes, it says, would you like a basement? And of course, most people would like a basement, but how do you say, but they only want a finished basement, or they only want a 2-car attached garage? There's not enough detail here, right? So that's where we've got to find that extra detail. So yes, they want a garage. Yes, they want a basement. And I could go and put the number of car garage, but that's really where features come in. And as I mentioned, there's over 9,000 features, everything from must have. So if I have a client who says, you know what, Colleen, I only want to see things that have an attached garage. We only want an attached garage. We don't want to ever park outside again. And we just want to be able to open our door and walk into our garage. If that's really important to them and I want to automate their search in the collab center, then I want to use attached garage as it must have this item. Don't send it to my client if it doesn't have that item. Maybe there's something they don't want. I have a client right now who says, Colleen, don't show me anything on a septic field. We had a terrible experience. They had to dig up our whole front yard. Don't show me anything on a septic field. That means anything that had a septic, which is a required field, would not go out to my client for them to see. And then, of course, there's this one. Must have at least one of these, meaning maybe they don't care if they have a pole barn or a workshop in the basement. It has to have one of those in order to go to that client. Or maybe they have a boat. They don't care if they're directly on the waterfront or if they're on, or if they have river access. It doesn't matter. Either one of those would be fine. As long as it has one of those items, then it's going to go to my client. Now you're probably thinking, well, with 9,000, how do I know the names of all of them? That's what I would be thinking. So if you click the magnifying glass to the right, it will break them down into easy to read categories. So again, if they're looking for only finished basements, must have finished basement. Let's use our boat scenario. Let's go down to water features. I went far out. There we go. Water features. So let's say he just wants to make sure he can get his boat to Lake St. Clair. He doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to him if he has canal frontage, he's on the river, Could be by Harson's Island. He'd love lake frontage. River access would be okay. As long as it has one of those items, it's going to automatically go out to him in the collab center. So hopefully that gives you a kind of a good indication of how to use those features. All right. So at this point, I can say I don't have a whole lot in this price range with a 1-story and an attached garage, and probably would have to open up my criteria a little bit, but I just want to show you for the sake of time how we're going to set up that collab center. So now I'm ready to save this. The collab center is so easy. It's just a saved search that you marry to a contact record. So in this case, I'm going to do a save search as. That as is very important. We're going to name it. We're going to say that this is Lisa's boat client, whatever you want to call your search. And we're going to go to this contact tab, and we're going to set up our contact. So we're going to call him Mr. Happy Boater. And we're going to give him, so we'll call him Mr. Happy at mailnader.com. And the last step, once we've saved that contact information, is sending them out a welcome so that they get that continual flow of new properties that match their criteria. Now, we're not going to go too much into the all new collab center because that's recently changed. It's a brand new, really cool state-of-the-art app that the clients can do even more in. That you can take that class. We offer it several times a month. But basically what that's done is it's now created that automated account. That Save and Notify is going to send him that welcome email. And now they are going to start getting those new notifications of properties from here going forward. Again, you can see so much more. But if once your client is set up in the collab center with that saved search, when they get those new notifications, they'll pop up right on their phone. They now, I'm just going to show you on the desktop instead of the phone, but they now can go in. They now can see, again, the documents thanks to you. They can go in, they can favorite listings right up here, which automatically then get sent to you, the agent. They can ask questions, they can reject them, kind of where we started our tour today when we were talking about reverse prospecting. This is how you can see, not only did that client get the property, but what they thought of the property as long as they take the time to market. And then down below, it will have everything from the documents to the mortgage history to a lot of internal detail. They can even tell you what time they'd like to see the property. So a lot of great things in the collab center. Again, whole different class, and I know I'm pretty much out of time, but I wanted to just take you through some of those new features today. So I know I covered a lot, but just to recap in case that you joined us late, you can find this recording. I'm going to actually work on it today, so you'll have it in the recordings list tomorrow. You can find it under resources, under education, and recorded webinars. All you're going to do to access that recording is it basically just takes you to our YouTube channel. You're going to click on videos, and that is going to show you all of the classes. Again, if you want to watch Lisa's awesome public records class, that is right here at the top. But you'll see the date after the classes too. And you'll be able to go to this specific class for today's date. You'll be able to play it, and that will, in case you missed anything today. So how did we do, Lisa? Do we have any additional questions we can address as we're wrapping up?
No, looks like we're good. I answered a few questions that came through, but you did a great job as always.
Thank you. I was a little nervous showing the new stuff. I got to be honest, it's our first group. We get to walk through the new stuff. So hopefully you enjoyed the new tour. There's some really amazing tools that are also going to be coming out. And so keep your eye out for new notifications. I'm not supposed to say anything yet, but down the road, there's going to be a really cool way you can stay in contact with your clients coming too. So, so stay tuned. A lot of new CRM capability, a lot of new functions coming out. And I think a lot of this is perfect timing as we go into that new market. All right. Well, I'm going to wrap it up with that. And so thanks so much for joining us today. I appreciate your time, and happy selling, everybody. Go get some listings. We certainly need the inventory. Thanks again, Lisa, for helping out today.
Anytime. Have a great day.
You too.